Yeah. Take 3. Are you ready for some question and answers? I've got some questions and I got some answers. May not be the perfect answer, but I got an answer. D. Dempsey says, I see some of the neighborhoods have defibrillators on post for emergencies, and I've heard they are purchased by the community. Yes, our neighborhood, or maybe our district, I guess I should say, took up a collection way back when we first moved in. I don't remember how much they were asking from each household. We didn't have to do it. They were just asking, but for no more than what it was for the houses in our district area here, and for what it is and the lives it may save, I thought it was a good idea, and we chipped in, but I don't remember how much it was. I don't even remember how much the defibrillator was. I didn't even ask, I know the truth. I just thought, actually, to be honest with you, I kind of thought maybe the villages ought to be paying for it. You know, but apparently they don't see it that way. They just sell houses, and that's really what they're in business for. The developers in the villages, they're in the real estate business. That's what they do. And so anything beyond that, that's not their business. Not to say they don't do other things, but that's basically not their business. So I understand. They're simple to operate. I took training on that when I was a gate guard. I don't know what else you call it, gate guard. And when you open them up, I do know a little bit about them. When you open them up on the lid, inside of the lid, there'll be like 6 pictures. And you go by step 1. And step 1 is very simple. It tells you on the patches. I think the patches are color coded too. One's like red, the other one's like black. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. The red, you pull the sticky off, and it tells you on that picture where to put it. Stick it right there. And you pull the sticky off the black one, you put it right there. And then basically that just says simple things like make sure the mouth is clear, make sure this, make sure that, but real quick. Don't be taking all day to do this now, because a man could be dying, or a woman. And then you hit the button. There's a big button right there. Pow, you hit that button. And then the computer starts talking to you, and there's a countdown. 10, 9, 8. It gets down to 5, if I remember right, and it tells you to stand back. And we were taught on our knees, make sure our knees ain't touching, and just be like that. And then you'll see him hit. The machine activates. And then you go back and you check. You check, make sure there's a pulse, make sure he's breathing. If he is breathing, if he has a pulse, even if the pulse feels a little erratic, you're done. You don't want to do any more, because you may cause more damage than's already been done. And inside that kit, if I remember right, because the person may need to be mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and there's a little thing in there for that. It's like a bag, kind of put it on the mouth, and somebody has to squeeze the bag to make them breathe. And the same thing with them. When that countdown starts, the person with the bag, let go of it, get back. If you don't, you're probably going to regret it. But easy peasy, wasn't a big thing. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, but if you're interested in it, I don't know if all districts have them. My mind says probably not. And if something like that's important to you, then if you're coming down to see about buying a house, that's one of the things that you're going to want to ask the salesman, even if he knows and he may not know, is where is the defibrillator in this district? Is there one? And find out. I'm embarrassed to say we have one, I'm almost positive, and I don't really know where it is. I should know. I'm feeling embarrassed now. Can you see? Am my face turning red? I should know. I'm just going to take a guess. It would almost have to be in one of 3 places here. Our neighborhood rec center, or the postal station area. There's a swimming pool there and stuff. It might be in there, or the guardhouse, because our guard shack is full-time, 24 hours, 7 days a week, manned guardhouse. We have 2 types of guard shacks, so to speak. Unmanned and manned. And ours on one end of Hillsboro is manned 24. And that would, to me, would probably be the obvious place to put it. But here's the thing. Seeing how us as a people, a neighborhood, we're buying this thing, that guard shack is village's property. And they may not let us attach our private thing on their private property. I don't know if that's true. I'm just thinking of something that could be a problem. I'll have to check. I need to know where that thing's at. I'll have to check and find out myself. Also, I have a friend in a senior community in Arizona that has artificial grass that I can't tell from the real thing except when you walk on it. Can you have that in the villages? I wish I could. I am one of them that I think I would do that. Just think about it. Grass that stays green all year round, never needs mowed. I'd even have artificial bushes. I just would. Never need trimmed. The leaves never fall off of them and get all over the sidewalk or the ground or anything. You never have to water your grass. You just basically just shut the water off. You don't need it. I think I would. I think I'd like to have real trees though, palm trees. I like them. But yeah, I think I would. But to answer your question, the sad part of it is, of the two cases that I know of, the answer is no. But I'll tell you though, always go to the Architectural Review Committee and put in a request to find out if you can or you can't. And I say that for this reason. About, I'm going to say a year ago, I hate this zoysia grass. It's hard to take care of. It's something that unless you've got all the special knowledge, that it's hard to keep going. I fertilize, I used to cut, I used to spray for bugs and weeds and everything else. My lawn in areas looks crappy. It just does. Scott's Southern Lawn Fertilizer does not work. I don't care what anybody will tell you. That's what I used for years. Doesn't work down here. Crabgrass control does not work. I've done it all. It just doesn't work. But it does seem like though there's a couple of lawn care companies that seem to know a little more than me, and that don't take much. And I've been watching, and as they take care of these yards, I watch. And the yards, I'm not saying look great, but they look a lot better than mine. I just don't know, is it worth what they want to charge? And I just don't know if I want to get locked into a contract, because they all want contracts, and I don't know. So what I've done was I sent an email to Architectural Review Committee asking them if I was allowed in District 10 to replace zoysia grass with Augustine grass. Augustine grass isn't the best looking grass either, but it wants to grow here, where zoysia just wants to die. It just doesn't really want to grow. I don't care what they tell you about doesn't take much water. That's crap. It's just not a good grass as far as I'm concerned. And surprisingly, I got an answer a couple days later from them that they said I could replace it with Augustine grass, but I had to replace it sod for sod. I called them just to make sure I knew exactly what that meant. And she said what that means is you have to replace all your grass with Augustine. You just can't replace the front yard with Augustine and leave the side yards and the backyard with zoysia. I said, okay, but I can replace it. Yes, you can replace it. I haven't, and I'll tell you why. Zoysia spreads, not zoysia, I'm sorry, Augustine grass spreads. It sends out long shoots and it spreads. Well, I got two neighbors on each side of me that has zoysia grass. And so Augustine will invade their lawn, which could create a problem, and I don't want the problem, so I'm thinking real serious about having a company come out and just cut that bad area out and replace it with some Zoe's sod. My area is from dogs. It's people will argue and say, no, it's not. No, it is. I mean, when you have 50 dogs a day, and every dog wants to urinate in the same area that the last dog urinated in, then you get this circle of weeds. And that's what I've got, a big circle of nothing but green weeds, because the zoysia grass that used to be in there isn't there no more. So that's the problem. I got nothing against dogs at all. I have a dog. You know what? Our dog doesn't pee in nobody's yard. Our dog doesn't poop in nobody's yard. She does it here before we take her for a walk in the road. She does it here in my yard, and we pick it up. I just don't get it. I really don't. So now I've got to spend money to replace grass in my yard because of dog pee. Do you think the neighbors would be willing to chip in to replace my grass? Do you? I don't think so. Okay, I'm done. There is another question on here. Mike and Ann Cherry says, me and my wife would like to visit the villages. Should we rent something for 3 months in the winter? You could. Everybody does. Let me say though, if you're going to, get off the pot. You better get that rental secured now, because in the best areas of the villages, those rentals disappear sometimes a year in advance. I used to rent my villa years ago, and from one winter to the next, the same people rented it year after year after year. So April 1st, when they were going back to Canada, they has already given me a deposit for the next year for January, February, and March. So I mean, sometimes that's what happens. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but just if you got a certain area that you want to rent in, get it now for the winter. Try to find an area where you get a free golf cart with the house. They're getting away from that. A lot of people are getting away from that, and I understand why. But there's still a lot of them around that still has a golf cart that goes with the house. You're going to hear about all kinds of excuses as why. Everybody's an attorney. Everybody knows all this stuff. But I'm just telling you, try to find a house that has a golf cart that goes with the house, because it makes life a lot easier. It says, we live in Kentucky. This morning it was 35 degrees. In May? Well, yeah, I suppose, yeah. I can remember a couple of times when I was in the trucking business that in May, it was in the evening, but where it sprinkled some snow. We would like to see how it is to live there. That's a smart idea. Check it out, man. I've always said that. Rent something for a while. Check it out. How much net worth does it take to live there? I've done video on that several times, and I just try to be as honest as I possibly can. And I'll just simply tell you that I don't think it has anything to do with net worth. Our house here is 2,300 square feet, and here it's worth about $250,000, and there it would cost $400,000. Or should we just rent something every winter? Well, it sounds like you're just wanting to be a snowbird, okay? So even if your house is worth $250,000 or $500,000, whatever it's worth up there, then what difference does it make? Because if you only want to be a snowbird, then I don't know why you're comparing square footage, because you don't need a 2,300 square foot home down here just to come down here in the wintertime. Just get a patio villa or something like that. You can find them, pre-owned ones. I've seen them. I haven't really looked lately, but I've seen them for, I don't know, 190, 180, stuff like that. Maybe even a little cheaper in further north area up there. Everybody's wanting to buy new in the new area. So if you go to the north area up there where it's older, you might get a deal. So that's what I would do. Now, if you're looking to come down here full time, let me just be blunt about things. I hope I don't make anybody mad, but I'm just going to tell you exactly how I see it. It ain't about your net worth. It's more about having that regular income every month. I don't know if you're retired. You don't say. The Social Security, company pensions, IRAs, whatever you got coming in every month. and the combination of the two of you, whatever you got coming in the month. That's all well and good. It's all about debt. How much debt do you have? Do you owe $20,000 in credit card debt? Do you owe 2 different car payments? Do you have an RV you're making a payment on? I mean, these are the things that really is what gets in the way. It isn't the house and all that. It's debt. So if you're wanting to come down full time, I'd say if the idea of a $250,000 house of what you're living in now, as opposed to buying that same house here, well, I don't know. Do you need a 2,300 square foot home when you're retired? I mean, I don't know if you do. Some people, I just think that they don't want to change. They want exactly everything they got down there, and we have found that really doesn't work down here. People will want to take a furniture truck, load up all their furniture up there, and bring it down here, buy a new house and put their furniture in there, and guess what? The first warm weekend that comes around in the summer, they're having a yard sale, selling all that furniture because it doesn't look right in a southern house. I mean, that's just what happens. So just think about it. Come down, check it out. Ideally, here's what I'd like for you to do. Get your debt situation straightened out. If there's any, I don't know if there is, I'm just saying. I'm saying it right off the shoulder. Get your debt straightened out. Get the credit cards paid off. If you have 2 cars, it took me a while to convince my wife of this, but this is a fact. You don't need 2 cars here. 1 is all you need, because they're going to have a golf cart. This is a golf cart community. There's nothing you can't do here, nowhere you can't go that you can't take a golf cart to get there. I use my golf cart all the time. That's my car. You ask anybody that knows me here. If I can't get there by golf cart, the odds are I don't go. If I have to go and I can't get there by golf cart, guess who's driving? And it ain't me. Ask anybody, they'll tell you that. So you don't need 2 cars. There's one of your debts taken away. Pick the car you like or your wife likes the best. You will probably be driving a golf cart. But pick the car you guys want to keep and get rid of the other one. You save the payment on the car if you got it, the insurance, gas, maintenance, all that. Just get rid of it. You don't need it. And then come down and get a good used golf cart if you can find one, or just buy a new one, whatever you want to do there. And you're good to go. You don't have much to worry about. If you have a small house payment, I mean, I guess I'm good with that. If you have to come down here and have a $1,500 house payment, well, that's all about your income. I don't know what it is. So if you can handle a $1,500 a month house payment and you're comfortable, okay, then you're good. How much traveling do you want to do? Are you like the people I know that take 8 or 9 cruises a year? And then when they get back, they fly out to California to see their daughter for a month, and then they'll fly back here for a couple weeks, and then fly up to New York to see some people, and come back down here for a couple weeks, and then take off on another cruise. That's debt. If you can do all that, if you like doing that or that kind of thing, if you can do all that and have no debt and everything and live comfortable, then you're good to go. So with me, it's really not about the income, it's really not about net worth, but the smart thing is to come down and check it out. Ideally, I want to suggest this. If you've never been here before, you say you want to come down in the winter time, okay, pick a month, January or February, one of them 2 months right there. Pick one of them. Rent something now in the villages for one of those months. You do it now because sometimes these things disappear a year in advance and then you can't get anything. So pick one now for 1 month to come down. And what I want you to pay attention to is the average winter temperatures, that. But most of all, the traffic. Check out the traffic down here in the winter time. Check out how people drive. Check out how they park. Just check that out. Check out how long it takes sometimes to get in a restaurant. Because everybody down here is like a herd of cattle. They all must have 9 to 5 jobs. Because they all go to lunch at noon, they all go to dinner at 5:30 or whatever. It's just amazing to me. So my wife and I, when we go out, we time it. We go out to lunch maybe at 1 or 2 in the afternoon. We have no problem. we'll go to dinner sometimes if I don't do a lunch. And I don't do lunch every day. I just don't. Sometimes we'll go out to dinner at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's busy, but we generally can get right in. You can show up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, it ain't going to happen probably. And then come down in the summertime, and there's several things I want you to notice there. One is the traffic, how much different it is. Two is you don't see the stupid parking like you do in the wintertime. And then three is notice that you can get in and out of restaurants without hardly any problem, any restaurant. Friday and Saturday could be a little bit of an issue because a lot of the restaurants here, they're all open to the public. So people that work in Wildwood, people that work in Lady Lake, different towns around here will come down here on a weekend because our squares are open to the public for free. So they can come down here on a cheap date and have a little bit of dinner and go to the square and, you know, that kind of thing. So those might be a little different. But then most of all, I want you to pay attention to, come down in July or August, those 2 months. Maybe even June too, for that matter. And I want you to pay attention to the weather, the heat. It usually rains around 4 or 5 in the afternoon for about 20 minutes and then goes away, which makes it more humid. But just know the heat. See if you can stand that after a month. And then you'll know. If the heat really bothers you and you don't think you could live in that, then you know you're a very good candidate for being a snowbird, not to be here full time. And so then you got two choices. Buy something that you can sustain to live in, say 6 months out of the year, or just come down and rent something in the wintertime like a lot of other people do and get prepared to fork out that check. Because to rent something here, and I'm just throwing these numbers out there, this is not about every house, everywhere, in every village. But I would say to get a 2-bedroom, 2-bath patio villa in the villages in January, February, and March, just those 3 months I'm talking about, it's going to range anywhere from $3,200 a month all the way up to $4,000, or maybe hair over $4,000 a month, depending on which area you go to. And with that, there could be extra expenses, such as if they don't come with a golf cart, you'll have to rent one if you want one. If you have pets that they approve to come in here, you have to get those approved. Then they may have a pet charge. A cleaning, all houses have a cleaning charge. When you leave at the end of the month, before the February people come in, somebody's got to get in there at that last day when you leave, and I mean they got to get in there and get that place cleaned up and ready to go and inspected, so that the next people can come in February, and then they'll report to the landlord that everything was okay, so he can return your damage deposit, and that's the way it works. So that's my suggestion if you can do it. If you're retired, I don't know what you are. If you can't do that, then whenever you come down, just check everything out. Winter time is just busy, and that's all I'll say. And that's the whole state of Florida. It's just busy, and you'll have to deal with that. So with that being said, I hope it helps. I hope you get a little information there, and I'm going to get out of here. I'll see all you guys on the next Wednesday night live show, I hope. And with that,